Namaskar. Hi, welcome to my channel. And today I have a very special person in my show. And he doesn't need any introduction. An author, a columnist, a renowned TV panelist, someone who has also got a PhD for his thesis on RSS. And you must have seen him many times on television. He was jailed during emergency. And yes, you have guessed it right. He's none other than Mr. or rather Dr. Ratan Sharda. Sharda ji, namaskar. Namaskar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
So wonderful. Shubha Gudi Padwa, Shubha Chetichan, Shubha Yugadi, Shubha Pahelo Baishakh, Shubha Navre, and so many all over India. So happy, yes, in short, happy New Year for Hindus.
राइट तो यस गुड़ी पड़वा की शुभकामनाएं सबको और आपको भी और सबको हिंदू नववर्ष की शुभकामनाएं सो इट्स अ गुड डे अच्छा शारदा जी और मुझे इतना भी पता है कि डॉक्टर हेडगेवार के भी तिथि के हिसाब से आज जन्मदिन है Welcome, Sharda ji. Thank you for coming, and it's great that you have come. And Sharda ji, such a courage that you have come to my show, and you go to all the TV channels, despite of RSS being branded as a secret society by the great Rahul Gandhi. Secret society openly up television में जाते हैं, so maybe you start with there only. Rahul Gandhi's branding, then we go ahead. The way Rahul Gandhi branded RSS as a secret society. So what is your take or what does RSS think of that? The way Rahul Gandhi has...
Should one react to a person who is ignorant, who refuses to learn, who cannot learn, learning disability? उसके बारे यानी उस 52 साल के हो गए उन्होंने आरएसएस के बारे में कुछ पढ़ा नहीं है उनको किसी ने सिखा दिया कि सावरकर ने माफी मांगी उनको किसी ने सिखा दिया कि हिंदुत्व फाशिज्म है एंड इज रिपीटिंग इट्स हिमसेल्फ ऑल द वाइल तो उसको क्या जवाब दे जब उनको यही नहीं पता कि हिंदू से उदारवादी कोई धर्म नहीं है हिंदुत्व से बड़ा इंक्लूसिव कोई आइडिया नहीं है जिसके अंदर हर पंथ हर संप्रदाय को जगह है अपनी अपनी लोग पूजा पद्धति से चल सकते हैं और अपना अपना कर्मकांड कर सकते हैं बशर्ते सारे सभी लोगों का जो है यह विश्वास है कि देश मेरा है ये मिट्टी मेरी है इतिहास मेरा महापुरुष मेरे हैं ये हिंदुत्व की निशानी है यही सावरकर ने कहा था तो नाउ टू से कि भाई ये घृणा फैलाते हैं द काइंड ऑफ घृणा दीस पीपल स्प्रेड इन द नेम ऑफ सेक्युलरिज्म ये लेजेंड इसके लिए उसके बारे में क्या कहें इनको यही नहीं पता कि सेक्युलरिज्म के नाम पे मोपला दंगे से लेकर लाखों हिंदू सेक्रीफाइस हो गए फॉरगेट अबाउट द अर्लियर इन्वेजन्स आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ पार्टीशन टाइम और जस्ट बिफोर पार्टीशन तो अभी ऐसी आइडिया जिसके अंदर हिंदुओं को ही त्याग देना पड़ता है उनको ही पहले वन वे स्ट्रीट उनको ही बनानी पड़ती है तो ये तो नहीं चलेगा तो अगर हम कहते हैं कि सभी को एक जैसा रखो तो अगर वो कम्युनल है तो कम्युनल है फाइन by very definition of secularism all religions are equal all religions should get same rights we should get special rights अगर हम कहते यही बात हम कहते हैं और यही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहता है तो दिक्कत क्या हालांकि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में स्पेशल राइट्स है लेकिन यह क्योंकि हिंदू मेजॉरिटी इसलिए स्पेशल राइट्स थे जिस दिन हिंदू मेजॉरिटी नहीं रहेगी सारे राइट्स निकल और हिंदुओं के निकलेंगे हम देख ही रहे जहां जहां हिंदू कमजोर पड़ता है तो भारत से हिस्सा निकल जाता है या वहां पर हिंदुओं को अपने अधिकार का उपयोग करना नहीं मिलता whether you talk of your festivals whether you talk of your puja everywhere you can get disturbed तो ये तो सबके सामने है
right. Okay, thank you Sharda ji. Another thing people lot of people the general public have lot of questions about the RSS Shakas so I'll join two questions firstly did you ever go to the Shakas and agar aap elaborate kare if you enlighten the audience ki exactly शाखाओं में होता क्या है तो what are people do in the shakas how are they trained so there are a lot of queries I have seen that people have the curiosity the shakas
in our introduction there is something called Sangha Ayu which is our age in RSS so my Sangha Ayu is 60 years I have been in RSS from my childhood and in between one may be irregular one may not have any responsibility one may be somewhere else but in RSS we say once a swayamsevak always a swayamsevak so sometimes you get responsibility, sometimes you don't, sometimes you go regularly, sometimes you don't. But say for 6 years, I am linked to RSS Shaka. Since my uncle took my hand and took me to a Shaka when he came from Africa. He's the one who started Africa, work of the Hindu Society. He was called Dr. Shri Jagdish Chandra Shastri Sharda ji. So he was my Chacha ji, and he took me to Shaka like all the brothers from that time onwards. Now, actually, if you look at what Shaka program is, it's very childish. Somebody will not be able to make out how can somebody actually make human, very good human beings and very patriotic, nationalist, and highly sensitive with emotional compassion for the nation and society in that 1 hour. Now, this idea is that in 1 hour, so many things are happening. You are playing games. You are then doing some discipline drills. Then you are also singing songs. You also have some small stories, historic stories or moral building stories. Then you have some good, what you call subhashit, some good Sanskrit shloka, which is told and meaning is given. And you have prayer, which is a prayer to the Matrubhumi, Bharat Mata, which says that I will strive hard, selflessly, to take this nation to the supreme prosperity, Param Vaibhav. Now, this 1 hour also means wonderful time management, because in 1 hour, as you see, so many things are done. People may say, khel maja aa raha hai, aur le lo, but it will not happen. People who actually plan this, they become very good time managers, like anybody who goes to Israel from childhood. So time management comes in. You are raising the skills of the people. That means right from a very small responsibility like Ghatnaik, where you look after the 7 children or young people or youth in your locality, meet them regularly. If they don't come to Shaka, you go and find out what happened to them. Are they fine? To help them in the studies and whatever. So from then on, you learn the idea of team management. You learn the idea of building relations. Building relations, the family, it is not just a person. ये नहीं कि चाय के कट्टे पे मिल रहे हैं, घर में जाते हैं. तो आरएसएस का कहना है कि आपकी जो मित्रता है उस घर की रसोई तक जानी चाहिए, उस माँ तक जानी चाहिए. So when a person goes to a house, even if that boy is not there, mother will say, चाय पी के जाओ बेटा, खाना खा के जाओ. This is the kind of relationship that RSS teaches you. It teaches you managing events. So right from Shaka, then you go to camp. You become responsible for some responsibility in the camp. You become Mukheshak or the main instructor. You become Karya or secretary of that particular Shaka. So now you have to look after about 100 families, meet them, but maintain good relations, exchange ideas, do chat, and also you have to be intelligent, or you become intelligent. Then you take up the responsibility of that area from Mandal to Nagar to Jila. So this is how the progression happens. And as you go through this, you also have meetings regularly where you have to listen to everybody. You have to build consensus, which is the biggest quality of any management institution, and take people along. All these qualities are built. That 1 hour that you see has so much of else built around it. It is not just 1 hour. It is this interrelationship, this wonderful family relationship, the small things that keep on training you into so many big things that ultimately you can have a 1 lakh people's meetings or camps with not a single flaw, with not a single mistake, because every smallest thing, when you're asked to look after a festival, today we had this Dr. G's birthday and the New Year festival of RSS, as we call it, Varsha Pratibhata. And everything, right from who will bring the flower, who will bring that flag, how it will be seated, who will sing the song, from that onwards, how to manage things, how to manage people, how to train them. So these small steps that you see ultimately turn into a very huge organizer, into a skillful person who knows how to, your interpersonal, your interpersonal relation maintaining, keeping your cool, talking to different kind of people, their families, listening to their problems, trying to solve them. All these things come attached to that particular hook of 1 hour Shaka. You start with giving 1 hour for playing there. Then slowly you start giving more time as you become Ghatnaik. Then you give more time, you go Kareva. Then you become a district in charge. So this way, slowly you keep on giving more and more time to the society where your no self-interest is there. So to live a life where you think of society or of selfless service, and then do your other jobs also, whether student or businessman, this is what creates that great human being that is called a Swayamsevak or a Karyakarta. So this is the man-building, man-making mission that RSS talked about. And this is how you change a very ordinary person into a very extraordinary person dedicated to nation and to society and also to families and his own family.
Right. So basically, character is a great thing. I think the character building discipline and the character building of the youth, and that in turns builds the nation.
one more thing, we do everything out of our pocket. So whether it's a camp, whether it's a picnic, whether it's a small snacking in the Shaka, everybody contributes. So there is no free lunch, no free service. You have to pay. So once you learn that you do the work of society paying out of your pocket, you will not fall into trap of trying to make some money out of it, looking at people to provide money. So this strength of RSS makes them incorruptible, makes them very strong, and this is how you build a character where you don't get attracted to these kind of freebies, that as you call them. So that is another thing that we must remember. We pay out of pocket for every activity we do.
Okay. Sharda ji, my third question, the critics of RSS often accuse RSS that RSS had no role to play in the freedom struggle. Though we know Dr. Hedgewar was himself jailed, I think, almost for a year. And you have written about it in Sangh and Swaraj. So if you can enlighten people a little, of course, what role the RSS played.
See, I cannot take away your time, answering this one particular question, but to put it briefly.
Briefly.
One is that, you already talked about Dr. Hedgewar, who went to jail twice, once as a Congress leader, once as a RSS leader, who resigned from RSS to do it under Congress banner because he believed Congress was the party which was vehicle of freedom struggle, and we must all struggle under that particular flag, not carry your own brands, your own organization on your shoulders. So he resigned from his top post and joined the Satyagraha. So I think suffered around 21 months of imprisonment twice over, including hard labor. Not only that, in 1930, after RSS was started, thousands of Samsaks joined him in the Satyagraha. They also went to jail. And later on, so this is Dr. Ji's role. Then when RSS Congress passed a resolution of complete freedom when to celebrate it on 26 January 1930. At that time, Dr. Ji welcomed it, sent a letter to all the Shakas who celebrate the day, tell people why you require full freedom. Because he had given this resolution in 1920 Congress Resolution Committee seeking complete freedom. At that time, RSS was talking of only dominion status. So it took them another 9 to 10 years to come up with the idea of complete freedom. Dr. Ji had he said, we will be free and we will support all other colonies which are being oppressed to gain independence, or also fight against imperialism of the Western powers. This is the clarity of his idea. Then you come to 1942, RSS growing very fast, growing wonderfully. And then the 1942 Quit India movement came. So RSS gave freedom of to people who want to join the Satyagraha can go. Those who want to work for the RSS organization, they can work for the RSS organization, because there is an urgency of building up the RSS organization, because earlier it happens before the freedom. Much better it is for the society to be organized and have clear-cut non-colonial mindset. That is the idea. Hundreds of people went to jail. In fact, there is one person, I will not give all the name, one person died in police firing in Wardha. One person was hanged in Sindh, and two persons died in Patna firing. These are the names I know. There are many who would not know that.
You can give a few names if you can remember.
I won't remember off the cuff Swaraj and Swaraj as the names. I am a little weak on the memory side, so I have to keep the reference in front. I have not them. But these are known names. Hemu Kalan is the one who was
Hemu Kalan.
Now, unfortunately, Wikipedia leftists have tried to make them a member of ISF. That's a joke, because I have complete evidence of the person's RSS roots from the Sandhi Swayamsevaks who wrote a book on that particular period. 47, when the partition took place, who fought for, so are the freedom complete and delivered on 15th August 1947? No. There are millions suffering on the Pakistan side, on the Bangladesh side, on the East Pakistan side. At that time, RSS themselves took complete risk on their life, their families, their business, and fought against those goons, Muslim League goons, to save lakhs of Hindus and Sikhs from certain death and dishonor. And many of them lost their lives. There is a whole a huge name. In fact, I have given one scan of a page which I got from the documentation center of RSS, where 23 names are given. It details how they died during the writing in Amritsar. One example. Again in Jammu Kashmir, when this Pakistani invaders came, many people lost their lives. It is mentioned in a very big way in Jammu Kashmir ki Ankai Kahani, and you will find a lot of names there with evidence and people who were there at that time. So there also many RSS students lost their life. In the same position they were there till they were 6 people selected to stay back in Sindh for 1 year till all Sindhi Hindus came back. Even Rashtriya Sevika Samiti was on the street at that time. So this is one. Then at the same time, not many people remember that Goa, Damandi, Nagar Haveli, etc. were under Portuguese and Pondicherry was under French till 1961-62. I think 67. So I'll have to check again the date. So
1960,
yeah,
61.
they were under the thrall of the Portuguese, being, there are inquisitions, there were atrocities, and RSS was the first one to raise the flag of revolt. They did Satyagraha in 1955, and there again, Raja Mahakal died with a police bullet, and thousands went to jail at that time. There are a lot of information on that, and finally, our government had to send military there, the police section to take over Goa. Then the Nagar Haveli, in fact, was actually liberated by RSS themselves. Just 150 people from Pune and other places. They took over the police station, imprisoned the Portuguese police, and gave everything to the government. They have received Tamapata also. So this is some of the view. Now, more important point is, as Sanjeev Sainal also said, I have said much earlier on this also, he has written a wonderful book. I said, Dedi hame azadi mera khadak bina dhal. If it is true, can you believe it that the nation got freedom with just 3 agitations? 1920 non-cooperation.
That was scrapped after Chauri Chauri.
One, yeah. Then after that was 1930, Salt Satyagraha and Jangal Satyagraha, in which Dr. Joseph took place. Again, nothing came out. Then 12 years later, you had 1942 Quit India movement, which was crushed in 75 days.
Yes, 2 months.
And there was no plan for people who were left behind while top leaders are in jail. Some socialist leaders kept on struggling. At that time, RSS provided them all the support in terms of asylum at homes, keeping them safe, fighting their cases in their various courts. And a Congress leader, when he was very upset by the Congress effort to ban RSS, and he wrote a letter saying that actually it was RSS which supported us in 1942, and I'm ashamed that today Congress is doing this to them. And he has given a statement, he resigned from Congress. It's a part of my book.
So, okay, who resigned from Congress, if you can repeat the name?
I don't remember the name now. Again, I have to pick the book. Okay. So if you told me to take a class, I would have put the book in front of me from the back end.
It was like,
the book is behind me. I can take out and show you all the names there. I that if, and as we know, Kalyan, they wrote a book on the documentation of British, which clearly said it was INA trials in Red Fort, the British at the time of World War II, and Naval Revolt, which we can call actually the final revolution.
Right.
Mumbai, 7 days was completely under their hand. 70 or 77 ships were under their control. It also spread to Karachi, it spread to some other ports. Jabalpur also. They finally realized they cannot control this nation anymore because lakhs of soldiers had come back, were trained in arms, who knew they can fight. So they realized the time is up. And in 46, Attlee clearly said, we want to now get out of India. It was not, and when he was asked that whether 42 Quit India movement actually resulted in British going back, he just smiled. And he said no. And he said it is this particular Naval Revolt that actually gave us the real scare. And if you read Kalyan, there's a small book I have it, where he gives British documentation on this. And after that, partition was decided to somehow weaken India. So this in short, because I say, okay, fine. Non-violent movement connected millions of people to the freedom struggle. There was another parallel flow on which Sanjeev Sainal has written the book, where he talks a continuous stream of revolutionaries. Right from 18th century onwards, who kept the struggle on, and they sacrificed their lives, and they had international local network. It was not sporadic the way I've been told. So there is a parallel struggle going on. There is this non-violent struggle going on. We cannot belittle any of it. At the same time, to believe that 3 movements, non-violent movements, over a period of 32 years would have resulted in freedom. I'm sorry. We cannot actually, abuse our freedom fighters and our revolutionists like this, or insult rather.
Yeah, our revolutionaries have been whitewashed in their history. Post-independence, their portions are not there. So that's a huge chapter. And as you said, after partition, the way the refugees were served by RSS. And till date, Sharda ji, I know the social service Sangh people do. Like a few days back, there was this fire in Appapada,
Yes.
Maladies. Yeah,
Yes.
I had myself gone. Yahan se mujhe bola tha, so I had gone to talk to the women and all, and I had tears in my eyes. Everything is gone into ashes. So there was only a Hanuman temple jahan se food supply kar rahe the. Then I have seen my eyes, and it is the RSS जो कार्यकर्ता है स्वयं सेवक, तो मॉर्निंग ब्रेकफास्ट लंच डिनर वहां पे बनाते हैं एक सत्संग परिवार, एंड दे
Well,
ऑल
it's
डिस्ट्रीब्यूट, एंड वहां पे बैठे हुए ऐसा संघ के लोग व्हाट टू गिव, दे हैव फॉर्म्ड अ
to Gujarat in 2001 after the earthquake.
yeah
And
yeah
young boys,
you can talk about some of this kind of social service.
young boys were there taking care of the stocks, taking care of the arrangements, everything. So all young, very young people. And one of the young persons, maybe hardly 17, 18 years, he said, now the things are much easier because after the earthquake happened in the dry period, they were all crushed. They were dry, not easy to take those people out and cremate them. But during the cyclone a few years back, our fingers would get into the body because they were so totally decayed, and that was very tough for us. And he said earlier we never took photographs. Now we have also become wiser. We are taking photographs also a relief work. So this is the kind of work which others won't even touch. In Gujarat, I saw special arrangements for Rosa, special arrangement for Namaz, etc. So this talk of discrimination, anti-minority, etc., is not on the ground. Because wherever there is seva, Guruji clearly said in seva, there is no difference, there is no religion. And that is what RSS has always done. I just gave 2-3 examples, but every natural disaster, every kind of disaster, they are there without publicity, without any forcing people to convert. And Sevakar, as you know, are more than 170,000 now across India, and it includes education, includes temple, it includes tribal areas, it includes education, economics. No dimension of any social action is away from RSS. Every dimension of social life is covered by RSS. If you look at just one example to give, I had gone to Gujarat earthquake, after Gujarat earthquake, just about 4 or 5 days back, and everywhere RSS was the only one handling camps. Those people who came with relief material didn't know where to go. They would go to RSS camp and say, please isko sambhal lo, logo de do, because it was very difficult even to reach out to people, find out where to deliver even water and other things. Some clothes were sent which was not suitable for those people. They would never wear them, and so many things. It happens. So all of that was managed by RSS. Young boys were handling those things. I know of stories where untrained people climbed up the buildings in Ahmedabad where there was no way to climb up, tying saris together, taking people down with no training at all. I saw how they picked up body and cremated them. And so if you look at this highly compassionate ground, I saw special arrangement for Rosa, special arrangement for Namaz. As true of every social service that you see. I know of in Aurangabad Dr. Area Hospital, there was an elderly gentleman who learned Namaz. So he could offer Namaz with patients who were undergoing some serious operation and they're too scared. So he would just go and sit with them to offer Namaz and console them. This is the kind of work which nobody even understands. Charkhi Dadri, sorry. Saudi Arabian airline crashed. All the passengers are 99% of the Muslims. Who came to help? Only RSS. And unfortunately, there was an issue of who will bury them because the bodies are burnt, and a burnt body, they cannot go to what do you call day of the judgment ke din. Qiyamat ke din. Body has to be full. So they had to persuade some Maulanas somehow to give them decent burial. Now, is this something which is highly human, which is highly compassionate, which people can understand? And this is the scenario all over India. Apart from that, there is education, there is economic welfare, there is tribal welfare, there is education for the tribal people. Every aspect of national life is covered by people inspired by RSS. There is no dimension which is not covered. As I said, 150,000 Seva Karya is about 28,000 schools and colleges. We don't even know all the numbers because many are there who do on their own. They are inspired by RSS. You go there, you'll find pictures of Dr. Edgivar and Guruji. So you come to realize. So, and everybody works on their own and then they get connected. So it is not some central force that is creating, these kind of seva. It is their own urge to do something, that people start something, they get connected. And then slowly these people come together and RSS tries to help them wherever can in terms of resources, manpower, etc. So they can be on their own. This in short is what RSS is in the social dimension.
Like your book says, I think from an organization to a movement.
Yeah.
You have only written RSS from an organization to a movement. So how this became a social movement, and you a lot of schools at the Saraswati Vidya Mandir and बहुत सारे जो centers है.
There are a lot of I would say evolution cycles through which all this happened. When Dr. Ji started his focus of purely Shaka, so he said somehow Shaka should be strong. We should have a network of Shakas across India, so people are organized, united, patriotic, selfless character with people with high character, and that was his focus was RSS somehow to create a basic network, because RSS Shaka we call as powerhouse.
Right.
If Shaka is there, you get people, you get manpower who can go to various areas and work. And after that, when ban was brought in, so any government would have rewarded people who fought in the partition, but RSS was banned, created with excuse of Gandhiji. But after the ban was removed because they had nothing to show to the courts, and Guruji again said no propaganda, no talk, no thing to do with press, no response to any negative news, just carry on the work will speak. Then slowly, one by one, organizations kept on springing up. And you found organizations like Bharatiya Mazdoor, you begin with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, Bharatiya Jan Sangh, then you had Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, you had Vishnu Hindu Parishad, you had this Vanvasi Kalyana Ashram, just to give a name of the few, which were inspired by such ideas and who started their own work. Today, they are the biggest organizations in India itself with their own massive following. If you talk about the latest Ekal Vidyalaya, 1 lakh single teacher schools across Bharat in tribal belt, and is the biggest movement to create literate people and educated people. So this is a continuously evolving system. I have not talked of conflicts. So this then Balasaheb Devras came. He said we are not afraid of we are not wary of joining politics if the need be, because we don't want to get into daily politics. But if there is something that touches our lives, we will also have a right to speak. We are responsible citizens. So anti-corruption movement, 1970-75, emergency. RSS fought for democracy. Out of 1 lakh plus people in jail, nearly 80% were RSS or people aligned with RSS. And out of MISA, which are about 20,000, about 80 to 85% are again RSS people. I am giving a lower figure, it could be higher also. And they fought all through. Underground movement was on the spine of RSS, whether it's spreading news, whether it's spreading literature, etc. And there are stories about. There is a whole book on Apatkal written in Hindi, and I have put some of it in my other books. So that step took RSS towards more closer to society. People started looking at RSS as a social movement rather than social organization, who fights for people's right, not just a shaka or a close organization. Then after that, Ram Mandir issue came up. Right. With Ram Mandir issue, the movement, the organizational level, the social connects slowly emerged as a huge movement where crores of Hindus were connected. So this Ram Mandir movement was the moment when RSS became a social movement, I would say, when people with no caste, religion, regional affiliations joined the movement without even having link with RSS, and that is how the larger Hindu society got connected to RSS. Then of course it is history. Then slowly more things happened. And elections happened. The idea, which was a marginal idea, ridiculed idea, a joke for many communist and Congress people and Europeans, slowly became the center pole of the national, social, and political segment of the society. And that is how it became a large public-oriented movement where everybody wants to contribute something. Now, as you say, people unconnected with RSS, people like you never knew about RSS, want to contribute something. You join some organization, you do something, and you get connected with lakhs of good people. Just one example, during emergency, one of our senior karyakarta asked Datupan Tengri, he was underground. That seems to be total, it seems that Indira Gandhi has total control. People are happy with timely train service and all that, and people are happy with discipline. So how do we think that this struggle will take us anywhere? Datupan Tengri said, see, it's a Kal Chakra. They have done what they have. People will see through it, and in coming times there'll be a change, and Hindutva will become the central pole of the entire narrative. and that is when the change will happen. So he again asked him, the young Karyakarta, so RSS will be the center of everything. RSS will do all this. He said, not RSS. RSS, in alignment with all the good, Sajjan Shakti as he called it, all the good people of the society will work together and bring about the change. Now, as you see, there are so many people who are not into RSS. Even today, they don't want to be connected with RSS in a way that we supposed to be in Shaka. But all of them are willing to work with RSS, along with RSS, and because they want to see the change. I just one more example. There was this economic fair where Swadeshi companies, not just Swadeshi companies, this spiritual fair is a different, where all the temples, all the matams are invited to present themselves what they do for the society, because there is a feeling that matams and temples don't take any interest in society work. They just do bhajan, they just have their matadis sitting there. They have no interest in society. So RSS people went out, met them, and asked them to join the spiritual seva fair. And it started from Chennai by Sri S. Gurumurthy, slowly spread all over India. And hundreds of organizations came out showing what they have done for the society because they trust in RSS. And a trustee of a very famous temple in Mumbai, he said, I am so surprised because I've been trying to do this for years together. Nobody joins me. But as RSS calls out, everybody is ready to join. This trust of the people, trust of the society is the biggest capital that RSS has, which cannot be taken away by Rahul Gandhi or anyone.
Sharda ji, maybe a little difficult question on you. Sharda ji, and this is why people get connected, and RSS upholds the Indic civilizational wealth. But what I feel, this concept or the idea of Akhand Bharat, and even in the headquarters of RSS, the Akhand Bharat map is there. In today's time, do you think it is realistic? Like, can you check back again Pakistan or Bangladesh? Forget Pakistan, Bangladesh, even the POK. Like, and it's not only geographical territory. You have to take the population also. So the demography changes. Like, is it realistic? Like, abhi bhi jo Akhand Bharat ka jo map dikhate hai, so what is your take?
It is not, or
is it only the conceptually or the idea wise?
It is not just Dr. Hedgewar. After Dr. Hedgewar, at that time, there was no partitions. Of course, there is no question of Akhand Bharat being something different from what we have today. But Maharshi Aurobindo, he said that this partition is artificial. It will not allow our civilization to grow and fulfill its destiny. So partition must go. If not today, in coming times, it will happen. That was the commitment of Maharshi Aurobindo to all the Indians. That was his dream. That was his vision. And as you see, because these nations which broke out of Hindu Bharat have no ideological basis. Religion alone cannot define a nation. So they try to build a nation on basis of religion, that is Islam. Hindu is not just a religion; it is a whole bouquet of different religions with same dharmic philosophy. So they had totally disparate communities like Sindh, like Balochistan, Pashtuns, and Punjabis, and Bengalis. They could not do it. So slowly it is imploding. So whether it will become part of India, whether it will implode and it will join in some kind of geographical, economic, framework is something that only time will tell. But it is sure the way Pakistan is going, sooner or later, what we see today will disappear. Something else will emerge. And Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia used to say that we need a confederation of Pakistan, India, etc., to really reach our destiny of greatness, because they have some qualities, we have some qualities, we are complementary. This is Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, whom today these people quote, so-called Samajwadis, who are basically castes. So there has been continuous urge of people to come together. Now, as you see, Bangladesh was at war with itself. There is a very strong sentiment in a sentiment in some groups who are totally radicalized by Pakistanis and Wahhabism. But overall, it was a society which did not, society at large was not against Hindus, because Bengali culture is different. But there is a very strong group which has been persecuting Hindus, which has been killing Hindus, which did not allow Bangladesh-India relations to normalize. But after Modi ji came, the relations have normalized. You find a rail corridor going through Bangladesh. You find river going through, cruise going through Bangladesh. You see economic cooperation, see border issues being resolved. Now there is a very strong bonding between Bangladesh and Bharat. So whether religious begots men or whether Bangladesh does more cooperation and becomes a kind of close neighbor with Bharat, that is a question. POK, POJK, those people are always on the boil. They have been taking agitations. While our people speak of Jammu Kashmir as it is a different land, those people want to come back to Bharat. And they were not given their rights by the secular parties. In Jammu Kashmir, 33,000 plus people have been given their citizenship rights after 370 years. So look at the sheer hypocrisy of secular forces in Jammu Kashmir Valley who did not want POJK people to join the mainstream because they were not Sunnis, they were Shias. That is what underlying message was. Bakarwals, all these people are facing atrocities, women are facing atrocities. Then you look at, so POJK has to, come back to Bharat because those people don't like at all Pakistan. You look at Pashtuns now, Afghanistan, Taliban themselves want to finish, invalidate Durand line. So a different Pashtun state is supposed to be there. Baluchistan is taken by fraud. They want to be independent. GS Sindh is not violent, but they are also continuously keeping the spark on. So this a very small bunch of Punjabis with 100 landlords and big money people trying to control these different people and trying to impose their language, trying to impose their culture, everything on other people will not work. In our case, we know how to live in a diverse culture. As you can see that today we had this new Hindu New Year with tens of different names, but Atma is same. Similarly, unless they have some kind of common cultural connect, they will not be able to survive. Realizing this today, Pakistan talks of Mohenjo-daro, talks of Takshashila. Before this, they were saying that our history starts with Muhammad bin Qasim. That is not the uniting force. So this is changing. So today to answer how it will happen is difficult, but this will happen. So in which way is also a question that the time will tell, but that is the future.
Okay, great. So let's come to some current issues. See, currently, lastly, I think a week back in RSS meeting, it was decided that RSS should include more women, though we have Rashtriya Sevika Samiti, and include Muslims in RSS. There is already some Muslims, I think Muslim Rashtriya Manch. So include more Muslims. Whereas, the general perception, the way the Congress is, as if RSS is anti-Muslim or something, but RSS is saying that taking more Muslims. Mohan Bhagwatji has spoken about same DNA. So what is your take on that? Do you think that Muslims will really happily come and work and can be very well a part of RSS?
See, Gargi ji, Muslim Rashtriya Manch was established somewhere in 1993.
Okay.
So RSS is no hurry. It has taken years to come MRM to come where it is. People never used to join MRM because they feared persecution from their own community. They had to face a lot of opposition from within the community, but they kept on working. Today, the scenario has changed. So many people want to join MRM. Many people want to see RSS up close. I recently went to a meeting of minorities where I was called to give a small talk on RSS. It was BJP minority cell, and they said, "Come tell us about it." And I spoke just for half an hour, and we had question answers, very, very frank. And he said the leader of that particular program said, "This is the first time that we have got an RSS person to talk about RSS in our community, and we want more such interactions." I met a couple of Christians there. He said, "We want to have more interaction, and we want to understand RSS better. We have to work together." Same was with other people. So this is how people look at it, because RSS has become already done a lot of work in Hindu society. People have seen it. People have seen there is no bad intention. They are all working for good of the Bharat. So there are a lot of good people who want to join this particular stream. And I am not saying every Muslim will join. The Wahhabism started in 1975, has taken deep. A couple of decades back, you would not find so many burqa-clad women or topi-clad men or high pajama people.
Right.
You could not make out whether the woman or the man were Hindus or Muslims. Now this changing scenario, which started in 75, will take its own time to peter out. Point one. Point two, RSS speaks on position of strength on base of its good work over last 97 years. So it has the trust. Even if 10% Muslims or 20% of Christians or 10% of Christians want to join RSS mainstream, not directly in Shaka, but somehow or the other, connect with RSS and take the same mainstream path of, as I said, identify with the motherland, identify with history, great people, and also carry on with their religious practices. If that happens, it's good for country. We cannot deny there is a common DNA. That is why if you look at Islam, till Pakistan became independent, till Muslim League came in, Islam has practiced in India till about 2 decades back or 75, till 75. And entire Southeast Asia is much more gentler, much more, better than what you see in Arabic countries. Right. Now, this situation changed after 75, 80 due to Wahhabism. But these people will slowly realize that their good resides with India. Their well-being resides with India. They have seen what is the condition of Muslims in Pakistan. They have seen what is the condition of Muslims in Jammu Kashmir. They can keep their eyes for some time shut. They can have venomous leaders trying to keep on, stirring the pot. But if they want to live happily, they have to realize that they are much better off than they were under Congress, when more promises were given, nothing was delivered. Own Sachar committee created by UPA said that the Muslim community remained backward despite 70 years of efforts. The report talked of communist party rule in Bengal, where Muslims remained the most backward. If that is the
even now they are the most.
If that is the damning indictment of the so-called secularism, where you only pander to religious sentiments, then BJP is much better for them. It is not. So it is not RSS going out of way to get people together. It is ready to open its gate, talk to people, explain to them what RSS is, and that is what is happening. And we are getting very good response. And there was same DNA for Congress. Gaurav Pandav also. Krishna talked of alliance. Krishna talked of peace. He talked of treaty. Kauravas didn't agree. There was Mahabharata. Ultimately, Dharam ki people won. So whether these leaders want a Mahabharata or whether they want to live peacefully is their choice. RSS opened the gate for good people to come. As I said, even if 10% people join the mainstream, it will say huge change. Because a lot of people fearing reprisals in this community keep sticking, keep quiet. Just like you see good Sikhs keeping quiet despite Khalistani, doing all the tamasha. Similarly, everybody fears goons. So it is not that all the Muslims carry swords on the street and start fighting. There is a small group which creates this, others keep quiet because they have to live and they feel very strong that, okay, we are able to fight. But this is the kind of situation created by Maulvis Maulanas. So this misgiving has to go. It is not for RSS to go on telling them this is a misgiving, you must treat us equal, etc. They will have to realize. We can only open the gates, tell them what is the scenario, what is the situation, how under Hindutva every religion, every sect, every sampradaya can have a wonderful life. They can live their life peacefully and happily. And this was said way back in 70 by Guruji. Only because RSS has grown big, this become a news now. Because Guruji said in 71 that we don't want minorities to convert. There is a Ghar Wapsi program, but those who want to remain in their own religion, fine. As long as they accept this is their motherland, as long as they expect this is their history, these are the great people. If they agree to this, then they are as Hindu as we are. Bala Sahib did the same thing. Sudarshanji said the same thing. This is the view of RSS, which carries on today. Only language changes. Only the way you reach out is changes because of changing social scenario.
Right. So basically, whatever religious practice you have, as long as you have a belongingness to this Indic civilization, you are proud of the history and culture, you can come. And that's good that not all will come, but even if 10% of Muslims come.
Prachara was a Prachara for 30 years. He died rather comparatively young, I think around 60 years. And he was Prachara for 30 years as a Muslim. I know a Christian.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Christian Karyakartas in Kerala. I know of a camp in UP which had 93,000 members. Then the Mukeshak asked those who want a special service for Rosa, how many people are there? 300 names came up who wanted to do their Rosa, etc. Number is very small. But without making any noise, without talking, they were there.
Okay.
So people who blindly do something, who have only one eye open, myopic view of RSS and society, they will keep on spreading canards. It doesn't weaken my Hindutva, doesn't weaken my organization of Hindu society if I say others are welcome who think that I am doing right. Bala Sahib said, if they believe in our view of nationhood, they view at our culture as the culture of theirs, then they can join Shaka also. So condition on them whether they agree with us or not to join the mainstream. It is not RSS going to weaken its stance to get them in. RSS only said what it has been saying earlier on, in a little different language as times change, in a different manner as the things change, as the media changes, social modes change, the social media comes in. So the spread of message, and as I said, RSS being very strong, every sentence is carefully accelerated and negativities find out. You can speak for 45 minutes today. I can speak with you. They will pick up one sentence and they will expand it saying this is what RSS people do. It's fine. Will not get the sense of those 50 minutes of discussion.
Right. And
Yeah.
Sharda ji, I recently read that RSS is now. I'll come. RSS. Yeah,
RSS has seen this negativity right from 48, right? And it has kept on working because its path is good and intentions are good, and it works on the grassroots level, touching people personally, not just social media, not just YouTube. These misgivings, this kind of canards against it slowly die down. So I'm not really worried. It only irritates, nothing else. And you say, okay, let it go.
And one thing, maybe many are not aware, but I was reading that RSS also upholds LGBT rights. These days, RSS, you are in favor of LGBT rights, right? RSS has been in favor of LGBT
Well, I
rights.
was in a debate in NDTV, I think about 7-8 years back, maybe 6-7 years back. And there was this criminalization of LGBT, homosexuality was criminal. And they called me in the debate as naturally I didn't have much of exposure. So I read a lot. I did some study. I wrote an article first. How Hindu dharma and Hindu culture does not criminalize what you call Tritiya.
The third gender.
Tritiya gender has some other Tritiya, person, something like that. So this Tritiya gender is accepted in a Hindu society right from time immemorial, and they are not criminalized, they are not ridiculed, they are not put in a corner. They are there in our scriptures, and if that is so, then why we can call it a criminalization? This was Victorian idea. I said this. There is another debate in India today. I think they said RSS change. I said it's not RSS view. This is Hindu dharmic view, and I am just quoting what I have read. So Shruth said that your nature depends at the time of conceiving the child. It doesn't depend on the outer influences that many people speak today. So from there on, there are so many things we know about it now. So I took the stance. Then incidentally, it also was asked to Dattaji after a couple of weeks. He said the same thing, and that is the basic stand. Okay, so
will RSS then, Sharda ji, now because it is in court, Supreme Court, will RSS support same-sex marriage?
Also, Dattaji has clearly said. I had written on this again those 5-6 years back when I wrote the article. I got a lot of badgering from people who support LGBT, saying that you have turned your view halfway down the discussion. When I said I don't know about same-sex marriage, it is not as per natural behavior of the people, and we do not know what happens to the children, their mind, when single parents have children, when no child is brought and sent to the government, government centers, and when how the parents will bring child up and what happens to his thinking and all. We do not have any answers yet. As everything's clear, only then we can talk about that. Today it seems to be not the right idea, and I was even slammed for this. Same things happened in RSS. People say it's wrong. Times are changing, modes are changing, but there are certain values that we have seen are living for thousands of years. As per those values, these people can have a wonderful life. They can stay together. But marriage is a sacred sanskara, which means a lot of things. And naturally, this is something new that we talk about. Earlier also, people were living together. It was not called marriage. They lived together. In fact, there is a gay activist who said that there can be social contract, there can be contractual signature between the partners, and they can live together. So the rights as, what you call hereditary rights or inheritance, etc., is not disturbed. The child's rights are protected. So there are ways of doing it. But to treat the sacred sanskar as we do in our own culture, that time right now people are not accepting. It may take some time. It may not happen. It may happen. But as of now, we don't know what happens because the way best children are behaving today, who are brought up with broken families, with single parents, with no parents, the way they have the shootouts, gunfights, depressions, and the way they take drugs shows us that that particular libertine lifestyle is not working for the child. You can have fun, you can enjoy your life, but it doesn't suit the child who is brought into a society where he doesn't know his own ideas. Now, people in the West, they are saying children can ask for sex change at the age of 15. Now, this woke idea, when they can't vote at 18, before 18, when they can't drink before 21, they can decide their sex. And they will get into an operation which is irreversible. And there was a case study I read where most of the girls or these people who got into these kind of ideas, they are suffering from depression. The so-called liberal class, young boys and girls, woke boys and girls are more into depression than other people. Now, this means this kind of enforcing your idea of gender fluidity. Today, in fact, gay rights people are upset that their rights, their sexuality is being smothered into a larger fluid gender discussion. So this sexuality is not the issue. Issue is my feeling of my gender. Kind of toilet debates that are happening. I saw horrible, a photograph of a, swimmer wearing a women's, swimming costume, wanting to take part in women's swimming, competition while he's a male. So this kind of wokeness will only create confusion in the mind of the people. And this is the kind of progressivism that we have to think hard. Whether we want to create a society where people are not sure of their own sexuality, their own gender, their own idea. Children are being trained and taught at the age of or first or second class. There are horrible things how sexuality is being exploited in the name of wokeness in young children. If you read Snakes in the Ganga, you will find out from Rajiv Malhotra's book what is happening. I won't describe it here. So these are dangerous trends which basically are trying to break the families bond between men and women as a married couple, society, because they want anarchy. So when you innocently say that, same-sex marriage is fine, why are you opposing it? It's not just this. It is the entire background, the kind of movements that are going on in the world to create this kind of disturbances in the life of people. Then you say we have to be very sure, we have to be very patient when you take such steps.
So, no, but why? Because I think why people are finding it contradictory, because at one side RSS is supporting LGBT rights, the rights, you support the decriminalization, but not the same-sex marriage. But if it is decriminalized, they are staying together. They get their legal rights, inheritance rights, or nominee. One partner can have.
A gay activist himself has said that those rights are possible with this, contract marriage or, agreements, which you have your same rights without getting married. So, as I said, I already explained the entire background on which this entire argument is created. And that the way wokeness is going, going down a very dangerous slope. As I said, most of the so-called woke boys and girls are most depressed.
Yes, that's...
So because they are not sure what's happening, they're totally confused. Do you want a complete young generation which is totally confused about their personality, about themselves, and who are forced or persuaded to be forced into getting into a gender change just because there is peer pressure and they don't know what to do because it's irreversible? What happens then? People used to have tomboys, we have tom girls, we have tomboys and you girlish boys, etc. in our own age. Not everybody turned homosexual.
No.
But the phase in life, a few turned homosexual, others came back to their own personality because there's passing phase.
Right.
Even in a daily basis, you are emotionally more like a woman someday. Sometimes you are more macho like a man, or, in your attitude. So that's a temporary passing phase. We call it mood. We call it your, what bhava. We don't call it, gender issue. We don't call it change of gender itself, because today I'm feeling like a woman. Or today I'm feeling like it. Today I'm feeling like something else. So this is something that is something to create this kind of, there is what is the New Left entirely based on? To create unhappy groups or catch unhappy groups and start a struggle for them. So small groups are picked up, unrest is created, unhappiness is created, and those small unrest in the society can create an environment where slowly the institutions of, as I said, marriage, family, society will break down. And we have seen we're suffering from it because it had a very strong culture that we have rooted for 10,000 years, that we have been able to survive yet, except some urban centers, except some typical woke universities. We have survived this onslaught, but West has buckled under it. Except communist countries are talking, Russian diplomat's wife, she said, we are totally against it. We have such experience, so this is something we can't stand. So there is a whole lot of majority who is keeping quiet because it is fashionable to taking side with wokes. It is much more easier and fancier. There are of course stories actually who are not LGBT claim to be LGBT because it makes them into that particular crowd of film circle or advertisement circle marketing. You would know many such people. So this is what is happening. It is much more serious issue than just saying भाई हमने decriminalize कर दिया, आप शादी पे allow कर दो. Decriminalize बहुत पहले हो सकता था, हमारी society में था ही नहीं. Why did you copy the penal code of British on this issue? Why nobody thought that we don't have this culture? It has taken 75 years to come here. We can hasten, but we have to look at what is happening in the West, how this particular theory is being forced upon us, the entire world, not just upon us, and which is resulting in chaos in the society.
Okay. And the last, I think, a small question. What is your take, maybe not as an RSS person, as an individual, as ye jo Khalistani sudden rise across the world we are seeing, this London and San Francisco and all. And also I'll couple up with another question. What do you think actually has happened with Amritpal? Did he really flee, or he was allowed to flee? The police let him flee literally, or is he detained in some undisclosed place so that, if he's arrested, jail se nikal jayega, lot of other problems. So detain him in some undisclosed place, make him fidget. What, as a person, as Ratan Sharda, what you feel? And
See, police is always under the control of political leaders. Yes. We saw in 1980-90 unrest when I used to go to Punjab very often. I'm a native there, my business was there. And the same police, once given backing by the political leadership, gets a KPS gill and ruthlessly, stops this entire tamasha. Similarly, Amritpal Singh was allowed to grow by the political leaders. The party currently in power in Punjab, everybody knew, winked at the Khalistanis. So when these small agitations used to take place in Punjab, there used to be morchas, Khalistan morchas. Police just would stand by and look at those morchas. This is happening already. Secondly, I was talking to a Congress MP who said that when they met in the parallel track diplomacy, Pakistani said we failed in 1890s because we could not create a wedge between Hindus and Muslims, Hindus and Sikhs. So this time we'll be more careful. So from then on, there has been sustained campaign to create a parallel history of Sikhs, which is bereft of Hindu, closeness, or bereft of historical moorings, which tells them more about Muslims than about their Sikh, Hindu brothers. After all, Sikh and Hindus didn't come up as separate entity from beginning. Right. It is Hindu joined Sikh movement, first as Sikhs, not Khalsas, then even as Khalsas. Panch Piaris belong to all the 5, areas of Bharat. So this is one. So there has been sustained intellectual input with the help of Pakistan to create a parallel narrative within Sikhs. So whether Sikh history written by Macaulay becomes a main history, whether Guru Granth Sahib, where a lot of verses are not played or recited, or Dasham Granth, which is not really taken out or read now anymore, except in Patan Sahib, and there are versions in which many Shabas are removed. This is all happening right now. So it has taken 30 years to build this kind of narrative. And because RSS said that Hindu Sikhs are brothers, they are like nail and skin, they may have a different religion, but they have the Vedic roots. And it is true. I have written book on Guru Nanak. I have quoted many such situations where very clearly he was not enamored by Islam. Guru Nanak, they went all the way to Mecca. He didn't have one Shabad from Quran. He didn't have one mention of Muhammad or the Prophet. He didn't have one mention of Jesus, etc. Why? He had some verses from Sufis because he wanted to keep connected with the local Muslims. And those Sufis had different liberal ideas of those times. I'm not saying they are liberal, etc. I'm not getting with that. But idea was to keep them within themselves. But he quoted some of them that was inclusive. Most of it is Hindu scriptures presented differently in a simple to understand language. And this being so, slowly this is being removed. Slowly those things which show this, integration or this harmony not come out. Maharaja Ranjit Singh's flag has Ma Kali on it, Durga on this. Guru Gobind Singh's Kul Mata was Naina Devi. All this is part of history. This was started by British way back in 1919, and this slowly was built up. So that separate Gurdwara Act, separate marriage ceremony, it went on and on. And then after the partition, Congress didn't treat Sikhs in the way it had promised. It didn't give Punjabi Suba easily. While other states came into being in 1950-53, Punjabi Suba came into being in 1966. And then Punjabi language was not easily recognized. So all this game that Congress played had the resentment. Okay, 90s up 90s, as said, huge work is done by these Khalistanis with the help of Pakistani. I am very sorry to say that younger generation of Sikhs, except a few people who have got family in their own family, old, links with their own cousins and all. In my family, there are Sardars. In my family, there are Monas, as we call them, who don't have pagdis. This is all there. It is in front of them. But the newer generation, with this kind of Gurudwara training they get, kind of books they read, are a little distant from Hindu society today, I have to admit it. So this is why you see, and with social media, suddenly see that there is a strong kind of antipathy against the government, against the Hindus, which has nothing to do with actual social reality. If you go to Punjab, still Hindu Sikhs live together. But when you create a social media environment like this, as I said, this idea was seeded by British themselves, and we fell for it. But even after independence, Congress didn't play a very good game. They didn't make Punjabi Suba while all the states were on the base of language. So seeds were seeded much earlier. Macaulay, ICS officer, turned Sikh. He created his own version of Sikh history and Sikh scriptures, did his own translations. Then there was Khan Singh Nabha, who picked it up, and he wrote a book called Why I Am Not a Hindu, etc. We are not Hindus. And this seed was given, they were created. Then there was special separate SGPC Act created. Then separate marriage ceremonies are recognized. All this slowly created a very small difference, which didn't hurt actually, because we didn't pay attention. Hindu or Sikh didn't pay attention, because in the family itself, there are so many people with they were Guru Sikhs and they were Monas, they were Kejdaris, etc. That's how we call in Punjabi. They were there. My own family has such. My bhabhi herself is Sikh. So we know this because after all, Hindus became Sikhs. There was nobody dropped from the sky who became Sikh. How many Muslims became Sikh, we don't know. But Hindus became, and once was supposed to be given to Gurus during the time of struggle with the invaders, Mughals, etc. Now, this situation they failed in 1989 is already talked about how they failed in that, but how they slowly built up a very strong intellectual base to misguide these people. And I dare say, as I said, that young Punjabi Sikh today is a little away from the mainstream that was very common, that we are families with Sikhs and Hindus married together, cousins would be with dadi, pagdi and without pagdi, etc. Now, that is a situation today with explosive social media. These small things and wrong interpretation of Guru Granth Sahib, wrong interpretation of bhajans, wrong interpretation of even somehow putting the Dasham Granth back, which is written by Guru Gobind Singh, and look at his greatness. He didn't say add Dasham Granth to Guru Granth Sahib. He kept it separate, in which he prays to Shiva, he prays to Durga, etc. Now those are hardly recited, and in Guru Granth Sahib many verses are avoided.
And even I think I have heard that so many times the word Ram is there in Guru Granth Sahib. It is said if you remove Ram, if you remove Ram, you will only have the covers.
They say this Ram is different. They say this Krishna is different. They say this this Yashoda is different. So everything is different. From where did they come? There's a long debate. We can debate on that. But point is, this is how it has been doctored. This has been many modified. So you find what you see today, that is a condition. Amritpal, of course, is a political game. It is something similar to what we saw in 1980-90. They thought they'll be able to control it. Indiraji thought that, Akalis thought that, and nobody could control it. Till Beyan Singh ji took it in his own hand as a chief minister very boldly and took along KPS Gill. We saw how it changed. Now this Punjab police said we had gone to arrest him, but we never knew he will not surrender. So we were not prepared. He ran away. Is this a statement from police, top police officer, which means there is a political meddling that you do this, you have to do this particular, show of going to arrest him? Because there is a charade going on. I don't know whether he's in prison or he's run away or he's hiding. I do not know. But the famous meme, of course, is Pulsage, it's all over the net. So they are not brave people. They are, vertical kaya people. These are people who are scared of actual action, not the kind of warrior khadkus that is created during earlier time. Because now Sikhs are much more wiser. As MS Bitta said clearly, that all Sikhs have to do is to stand up and say, this will not allow. This is not our Sikhi. Gurdwaras will stand up and say, this is not Sikhi. We will not allow these people to, take asylum in our Gurdwaras. Once that happens, you don't require any police and things will slowly fall into place. We have to go back to the original histories written by Bhai Gurdas and many others. We have to go back to complete Dasham Granth. We have to go back to reciting Guru Sahib as it is. Go back to the meanings given by the great saints of sons of Sikhi, and then we'll find everything fall into place. We cannot be dictated by the translations done by Pakistan-inspired people or British. Right. That is not be allowed. So once this happens, things will fall into place. Right now, yes, it is a grave situation at social level, not at the political level or terror level. They can be controlled, they can be contained. Yeah. Much more dangerous is the effort to create a wedge. That will take a lot of effort.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Sharda ji. I think it's been a very long and very comprehensive. We covered so many things.
You had promised 30 minutes.
That time, okay. You also love talking, and people who are unaware of RSS and what they will be enlightened. This is for the people who don't know about RSS.
Because once you ask a long question, I cannot give a short answer.
Yes. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved listening to you, and I think the audience will love listening to you, and they'll be enlightened. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharda. Thank you.